like a mobile hotspot on my phone.
It's fine. No. That would just make it more difficult.
Okay. I'll trust you.
Yeah, don't worry about it. This is from the park, look.
Oh, no.
I was like, come on.
Oh.
But at the same time, I get lucky because they didn't chew on anything more important.
Wires.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And this, look, it holds on like this other side.
Yeah.
So,
but like, why? Was there anything in that?
No. They just, I don't know, it's texture maybe. I felt interesting.
Or maybe, getting it for like nesting materials or something.
Maybe, yeah.
That
could actually make sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my memory of a park. That's what I carry with me now, Yellowstone.
Postcards and a chewed up bag.
Yeah.
I have some sewing stuff at home if you...
I think this is just, that's like, see, this was hardened as a strap, right?
Yeah.
I don't think just sewing it together would do much good.
Yeah.
I'd have to
like
get done professionally.
Yeah, or something.
Yeah. For now it holds. Once it's gonna break, I'll probably use lots of wire. And don't know, I'd have to buy a new bag. It's annoying, but I'll work it out.
Have you had this one for a long time?
No, I bought it specifically for the trip. For all the gear.
Yeah.
But it's okay. Me.
Bags like that, and the fanny packs are where it's at with biking.
Yeah.
I found.
Yeah.
Nice to carry all the essentials so close.
A little bit. I fit water in this, so it has to do.
Yeah.
Dobré ránko, odpoledne, večír. Mám dneska hodně v angličtině. Jo, aspoň na začátek, pak se rozloučím, pojedeme zpátky do češtiny, ale to pošlete memo, když tak dál, že začátek bude anglicky. No, mně to pak začne všechno padat. A je klid. Já to ještě musím trošku poštolovat. Co je to? Ne. Yeah. You would have thought it would be cruising, right? And then I have 4 SIM cards actually, and it's still pretty bad. Like the US, you can go into the cities. Well, maybe if you only need a little bit of data, you can go outside. But like you wouldn't want to watch a video or something outdoors. The US is like very strict in that. I mean, it's good for people at the end of the day if you just can't get cell service, right? But it's also a little bit frustrating. Yeah, so it's gonna be no bike today. We'll get back to bike tomorrow, I think. Today we buy the Mono Lake, which is super salty. That's about as far as I got in my knowledge of the lake. But yeah, we've names from long past. Rosa with us, and she'll tell us around a little bit what's what.
Yeah.
And just hang out, enjoy. It's a beautiful day. It's always beautiful though in California. That's my takeaway. It's always hot. Oh, at least. I mean, we're pretty high up now. At least like good temperature.
As long as it's not smoky, it's beautiful.
Yeah. Do you get on this end of the park wildfires as well? Can you see them sometimes, like see fires?
We can't always like see fires, but the smoke, even if it's on the west side of California, the winds always kind of go towards the east, so it always brings the smoke over. But yeah, there's like the big fire in Yosemite right now, but right now it's not too bad here.
Yeah. It's all the people I've met on the other side. They all of them, they have stories of wildfires just going around the houses and things.
Yeah.
You know, big ones as well.
I think it's touched the lives of almost everyone in California, either like personally or family members or where you grew up or people you know. It's been really intense the past few years. Yeah.
It's getting worse.
Yeah, and it's complicated too. You know, there's drought, climate change. A lot of the indigenous people have burned throughout their like culture, and that's like has been, you know, extinguished by colonizers, kind of what we were talking about. And so like that management of the land that's been happening forever was, you know, squashed for a long time. And so having like healthy, more regular fires is really important. And the fires that we're seeing now are just unhealthy,
massive,
extreme,
scary.
Yeah, just
damn,
really intense.
Was this season, is this like a prime season, or is it gonna come up as the heat stretches out?
Yeah, usually like August, September is like fire season out here.
Yeah,
so.
just don't come at that time.
Yeah.
You can avoid it.
Yeah, exactly.
When does the snow start?
Usually November.
So you get October in between.
October's nice. May is nice.
Yeah, the shoulder seasons now.
Yeah,
Good
it's
times.
like, it's so wild being here, you know, right now. It's all green and lush and beautiful. And in the winter, it's just snow.
Yeah.
Everywhere. It's hard to imagine just how different it can be.
I mean, we get 4 seasons back home.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
So for us, it's like that.
Yeah.
It goes from a lot of snow to greenery.
Yeah.
Somewhere a bit less, somewhere a bit more. But in general, yeah.
How much snow?
It used to be more. Nowadays, it'd be maybe a meter or 2, maybe less in warmer areas. But yeah, like the big winters. I remember having snow higher than the cars would go, like you can see in Tioga Pass and pictures. But it hasn't happened for a while now. Now it's a lot of artificial snow on the slopes just to keep them running.
Yeah. And you said like the higher mountain is like 4,000 feet or something?
Yeah, somewhere. But we're slightly further up north, I think, so that makes up for it.
Yeah.
And we're inland, away from Gulf Stream, kind of keeps stuff warm. UK, Ireland's always green. They don't get snow at all.
Because like a lot of our like streams and rivers are fed by snowpack that melts throughout the season.
Yeah.
So for like
Oh no.
Is it similar?
We get a lot of rain.
A lot of rain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. This is Sarah. She allowed me to stay over for a night or 2 in her place. And she happens to work for an NGO that deals with the environment, that's trying to preserve the original culture and nature in this area, and she agreed to show us around a little bit today, so I'm pretty stoked with that. Good afternoon, guys. We'll do like, I don't know, first hour or so in English, then also back to Czech for y'all for a little bit more extra time afterwards. So I'll try to remember as much as I can, and then try and tell you the bits that stick in Czech afterwards. But for now, hang in tight, enjoy a beautiful, what is it, border in between desert and the mountains where we are right now. Let me know if there's any issues. Obviously, as always, if it all goes dead, we'll just try to navigate into a different area. But yeah, let's see. Let's try to like, walk a little bit.
Mosey?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions.
Thanks.
Questions.
Thanks. Well, they'll come out slowly. People are very shy.
Cool. Don't be shy.
Except for the trolls, and we ban those mercilessly. So watch your tongues.
Yeah. No trolls at Mono Lake.
No, lots of birds though. Or what have you. But let's go. Let's get going. I just have to get everything seated. There's always like that. Cool. Pěkný dobrý podvečír. Budeme asi hodinku nejdřív v angličtině povídat si s Rozou, která nás tady provádí dneska. A já pak přeskočím zpátky do češtiny, až nám půjde do práce, jo. Takže ten začátek bude převážně anglický. Si když tak poraďte, nebo se stavte za chvilku, pokud vás angličtina fakt děsí a otravuje. Jo, děkujem. This is northern side and like a city park. Mm-hmm. A lot of people come here.
Yeah, very lush. This is actually owned by the city of Los Angeles.
Yeah. There was like a big fight.
Yeah,
a couple of decades back, no?
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Yeah.
Like California, San Francisco stepped in to just, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, so Los Angeles is about 340 miles from us.
South.
South, and kilometers.
It's 500 plus.
Yeah.
It's far.
Yeah.
In European language, it's very far.
Very far. Like that.
American, not as much.
So, about 80 years ago, Los Angeles Department of Water and Power built an aqueduct. Mm-hmm. It's like a big straw that connected 4 of the tributary streams going into Mono Lake down to Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. And over about 40 years' time, all that water being diverted down to LA instead of going to Mono Lake really affected the lake. So the lake level dropped about 45 vertical feet.
Yeah.
And so it exposed this really dry lake bed. We have
dead bodies.
Yeah. Like
that's like there's the other, yeah.
No, I've seen that. Yeah, no bodies here, but
okay.
There's California gulls, like a bird that nests out on the island. And when the lake level dropped, it connected the island to the shore. And so predators were able to go out, and it wasn't good for the gulls. Mm-hmm. And then really big, like, dust storms were happening too. So, not good for Mono Lake. And then the streams were also, dry for years and years. So like riparian habitat, like willows and cottonwoods and all this important ecosystems were lost too. So the NGO that I work for, the Mono Lake Committee, was formed to help protect Mono Lake and get the lake level back up to like a level that's good for the ecosystem.
So are you still trying to raise it actively?
Yeah.
Or are you still working on that?
Yeah. So the Mono Lake Committee kind of went up against the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. Mm-hmm. And like through legal battles for a few decades.
1941. Damn.
Yeah, so this is where Mono Lake was before the aqueduct was built.
Yeah.
And we had this like long legal battle with the Department of Water and Power, and there's now a mandated lake level where it's not that spot, the pre-diversion spot, but a bit further down to try to get the lake up to
today.
Because we still send water down to Los Angeles, and it was kind of a compromise of Los Angeles is a city full of beautiful people. People need water, so...
How, like, with the lake being so salty and all?
Yeah, so they don't take it from the lake, but the streams...
From the tributaries?
Yeah, the tributary streams coming.
Okay.
So we're still 12 feet below that mandated lake level where Mono Lake would be healthy. So we're still trying to fight to get more water into the lake.
And that gets more and more difficult as the rain grows more and more scarce also, no?
Yeah, that's part of it. And most of the water that leaves the lake through evaporation, like 80% of the water leaves the basin through evaporation. So a warmer climate also means less water in the lake. So just like, you know, the only dial that we can turn is how humans use water. So thinking about like water conservation, low flow toilets, having yards that don't need a lot of water. Try to conserve that way. Water throughout California is a mess.
I've noticed on the other side of the mountains,
Yeah, and then a lot of the other stuff we work on is stream restoration. So those, you know, 4 streams that were dry for so long that now have water in them, like the riparian habitat come back, and the fish populations and the bugs, the little macroinvertebrates that live in there, and the birds and all the other wildlife. So
can you have fish living in such a salty place?
Yeah, I mean the streams are all freshwater.
Okay.
So yeah, we have rainbow trout and brown trout here. Yeah, and a lot of people love to come here to fish. It's part of the tourism here. So
do you get people who come for the lake more than the mountains, or is it always just a byproduct?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. Some people, I think I was mentioning to you, like we're really close to Yosemite, so people like try to get into Yosemite and then discover Mono Lake kind of on accident. But then fall in love with it because it's super unique. It's like 2 times saltier than the ocean, 80 times as alkaline than the ocean. And we're about to see these little rock structures that are popping up. They're called tufa towers. And the tufa is created below the surface of Mono Lake when fresh water with calcium mixes with Mono Lake water that is full of carbonates, creating calcium carbonate, which is AKA, or also known as limestone. And so a lot of people come to see the tufa towers. But if water had never been diverted down to LA, all these tufa would be below the surface of Mono Lake. So it's kind of ironic. Yeah, if we were here 80 years ago, we would be swimming in
all this. Is there any industrial use for those?
So the tufa, not so much. They're protected. So this is where the Mono Lake should be. 6392 feet above elevation.
Nice.
So
that's still pretty high up.
Not quite here. It's also, you know, there's sister lakes to Mono Lake, like the Great Salt Lake in Utah, Mar Chiquita down in Argentina, like other salt lakes that these migratory birds that come through here connect us to. And out of all of them, Mono Lake is one of the most protected lakes for being a salt lake. So.
Did you say it was the oldest one?
So it's thought to be between like 3 and 5 million years old. Yeah, so one of the oldest lakes in North America. And definitely like, oh, that's a red-winged blackbird there.
I can see the red. Nice.
There you go. Their call is pretty cool.
Is it volcanic, or was it like a volcanic land originally, or was it a volcano?
Yeah, there's a lot of volcanic activity in this area. So there's a fault line that kind of follows the edge of the lake here. And then, you know, there's the Sierra behind us, and the Sierra is growing, and the basin is actually shrinking, you know, like geologically in geologic time scales, a long time. But This basin is thought to be millions of years old.
Wow.
But this mountain range that we see in front of us, the craters, that's like one of the youngest mountain range. It started erupting only 40,000 years ago, and some of the most recent eruptions are like 600 years ago, 300 years ago, so a lot of exciting
That's pretty fresh, yeah.
volcanic activity here.
But I've been told it's considered extinct now.
I think, well, dormant, I think is the right term, where
One of these days,
it's mellow for a long time, yeah.
come
but
back.
I have a friend who works in volcanology around here, and he assures me that we'll have plenty of notice.
Oh, yeah,
Happens.
So it usually is.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But yeah, we might be able to see there are some osprey, which are fish-eating birds
Yeah.
that nest out. So that tufa right there, we call it teddy bear tufa because it looks like a teddy bear lying on its back. Do you see?
Well, there. Yeah, it could be.
And so on the nose is where an osprey is nesting.
Oh, it's way far for me to see. But,
And so there are no fish in Mona Lake. There's trillions of brine shrimp, these like little like sea monkeys. Have you ever seen sea monkeys? That's like the only animal that lives in Mona Lake.
sea monkey.
Yeah. And so the osprey like go to other places around the basin and fish. And so their nests are like super protected because they're out in the lake and no carnivores can go out there.
Yeah.
And they have evolved to be really amazing hunters and travelers. Like their talons are scaly compared to other birds of prey, and so they can like grasp onto fish really well. And then when they fly, they don't carry it like this. They carry it like this, and so they're more aerodynamic as they fly through the sky with their prey. So
Damn.
pretty cool birds.
Damn.
Yeah.
And they only live here, or you able to go see them elsewhere also?
Yeah, they live in other places too. But, yeah, they have a really interesting call too, because when you think of like raptors or birds of prey, you think of like, ah, but they have this chirp, chirp, chirp call. That's really cute. So
nice.
yeah.
Are you able to tell the birds apart just by listening? Or?
Some of them, yeah, like, yeah, that's like the red-winged blackbird. That one was too. And then there's some warblers that, like when you learn bird calls, you try to like think of how, like what they're saying in, for us English. And so some of them are like, sweet, 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 so sweet, which is a warbler. And then chickadees say, chickadee-dee-dee, chickadee-dee-dee. And California quail say, Chicago, Chicago. So we kind of
Really?
match bird calls to our language, which makes me wonder for other
languages?
how people...
It's like with animal sounds. Some of we can hear, some of we can't. Like more, dogs and whatever.
Yeah.
Cows, sheep.
Yeah.
Some of it you can get off, all right, it can make sense. And some ways like, nope, you guys are wrong.
I know, yeah. Dog, for us, it's like bark. It's like dogs don't say bark.
Yeah. No, well, you'd say woof, woof.
Yeah.
Kind of, no? It's more...
Well, that is one of them, but we also say bark for a dog. And
well, that's like the name of the sound, and then the sound itself would be different.
Yeah.
We have the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's an onomatopoeia when the sound actually matches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Do you harvest salt or shrimp from here?
So not so much the salt, but there are some of the shrimp that's harvested. Over here there's a shrimp plant,
Yeah.
and they're like super teeny tiny, but there are trillions of them here. So if you think of every single human on Earth, there are 1,000 brine shrimp in Mono Lake. So everyone on Earth equates to 1,000 brine shrimp in Mono Lake, which is incredible. There are so many shrimp here.
Jeez.
And so, yeah, there's a company, actually there's their boat right there.
How is that? Why the shrimp? Do they like the salt or?
They like the salt. There's a lot of algae in Mono that they eat. The shrimp here are endemic, meaning they live, this like specific species lives only in Mono Lake and nowhere else on Earth.
Yeah.
And so, bye.
There's some massive cameras.
Cool.
Damn.
Yeah, and so the birds that we see out here, not the osprey, but the gulls and some other birds eat all the brine shrimp. And then the folks who harvest them, it goes to like tropical fish food, or like people who eat scallops, like scallops that humans eat, are also fed the brine shrimp. So if people like scallops, they have maybe eaten brine shrimp in a way.
Do they sell them somewhere in town? Could you get like a shrimp local dish?
I don't think so.
So it all just goes to the big cities in a way.
Yeah. No, they
Damn.
don't eat the shrimp themselves, but yeah, other critters like to eat the shrimp.
Yeah.
So.
Wait, the indigenous people haven't lived here? Would they eat them?
Not the shrimp, but there's another species in abundance that live on the shore, and they're alkali flies. So they're a type of fly.
A fly?
A fly, yeah. And
Okay.
so they don't eat the fly themselves, but similar to how caterpillars form chrysalis, becoming butterflies or moths. The flies are larvae, and then they are pupa, and then become adult, and it's the pupa form that is a traditional food source for the Mono Lake Kutzerika, the indigenous people here. Because in the summertime, there's
Just-
abundant food source, but in the winter, it's like super snowy.
Yeah.
And so they collect the pupa of the fly throughout the summer and keep it for winter.
They eat them like nuts.
They kind of make like a cereal out of it, or like soup. So
Yeah.
they're really delicious. They're like salty and crispy.
Yeah. So up in the mountains, I read people ate acorns
Yeah.
primarily.
Yeah, the black oak acorns, I think, are one of the more delicious. And not necessarily here, but kind of south of us, there are these big, like glacier eroded canyons that connect the Mono Basin to Yosemite. And because there's so much volcanic activity around here, there is a lot of obsidian. And so obsidian and that fly pupa was traded with the Miwok in Yosemite for the black oak acorns.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Can you imagine like that kind of diet?
Yeah, I know.
Acorns and pupas for dinner.
Yeah. They still do a traditional walk from here up into Yosemite. They're gonna do it.
That's somewhere in June Lake, no? Like in the area.
I don't know where they're gonna start.
Let's go the Bloody Valley.
Bloody Canyon.
Bloody Canyon.
Yeah, up into Mono Pass, where I think you were.
Yeah.
Backpacking. So yeah, in 2 weeks they're going to do that, which is.
Dang, I missed that. By a notch. That's okay. It's no social is there anyway.
Yeah, and I think it's for the tribe. It's not.
Yeah, right. It's not a show. Not yet.
But it's just incredible that they're able to continue doing these super important, culturally significant walks and trade routes. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's not much population of, I mean, in general around the lake, no? There's like Lee Vining. Mm-hmm. There's, they call it Mono City. I don't think there's anything there. According to the map.
Mono City, it's just houses.
It's like 5 people live in. And then like the entire area, I don't know. There's no population there, is there?
Yeah, not really. Yeah, people live up in Lee Vining. There's folks in Mono City. It's like 50 or so houses, so a small bit, like no store or anything like that. And then like where I live and some other houses that are kind of close to the lake. But
the highway.
Yeah, but other than that, it's protected, and so it's great because there's not often that you can, you know, look all around you and not see a whole lot of houses.
So is that the idea, to kind of give the entire back to the indigenous people?
That's complicated. I think.
Or does it still belong to somebody?
Yeah, so this is like state park land. The city of Los Angeles also owns a lot of it because they bought it all up to send water down to LA.
Yeah.
A lot of it is the U.S. Forest Service land, so it's like state, federal, Los Angeles, private. And so when the Kutserika do get federal recognition, it's kind of a puzzle piece of like where they can get land back, which is like all of this is their land. So
would give them some.
Yeah. Yeah. But when that time comes, I think there is a lot of support for that. So hopefully
is that really how it works? Like each tribe used to have, a piece of land, and now each tribe has to individually try to reclaim it?
I don't know across the U.S. because I think, it's like different everywhere.
Right.
For here, they were a very like mobile tribe because the seasons are so extreme. So in the summer, staying close to the Sierra, and then in the winter kind of moving out east. And so thinking about like getting land back, it's kind of hard to be like, okay, here's your little square or whatever, because traditionally they would just like move throughout this area. So,
yeah.
I don't really know what it'll be like
how would that work.
Yeah, for that. And just like a lot of reservations are in not the most like ecologically sound places, or in polluted sites, just like forced removal into these like not great areas.
Put them away into place nobody wants in any case. Yeah. I feel like, in Europe, that's kind of what happened to gypsies in the traditional culture. Because they also used to be nomads, going from one place to another, looking for little jobs, looking for little places to stay and live for a while, move on. And then, like, our culture became so settled that we'd be like, oh, this is where you live. And it came to a point where you need a permission from the person who owned you to like marry the village that's next to you almost. So that made it complicated for that nomadic lifestyle to propagate, and eventually it just has been removed entirely, which is obviously a problem for gypsies because they still don't know how to integrate. They still haven't figured out how to live in the culture that we forced on them. So you can find like resonance of that in Europe as well, except we kind of just ignore it a lot more. I've been working with this woman. She's actually a Japanese American, because during World War II there were a lot of Japanese internment camps that the U.S. forced Japanese people into these camps. And then Japanese were doing it to the nations around them.
And so it's like she has just like drawn this parallel of what happened to Japanese American and indigenous people here, of just like our government kind of coming in and it's just like, you go here, and in these spaces that are not safe, not healthy. And it's been an interesting parallel that I've been thinking about
following
lately.
Nice.
Damn. There's actually an internment camp about 2 hours south of here called Manzanar, where a lot of Japanese Americans were forcefully moved to during World War II. And it has these...
Like go work in the mines and stuff?
I don't think they, like, I don't know all the history, but not mining, but just like had them there during like scarier, when the U.S. was feeling threatened by Japanese people during World War II. But there's beautiful orchards there that they, like started, and some other gardens too that are pretty rare in the desert here. But it's all like pretty complicated history.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up I've lived in California my whole life. I grew up in like the valley, like near Sacramento.
It's like a farmer family? Or?
Yeah, we had like an acre of land growing up, and we had like horses and pigs and sheep and chickens and cats and dogs and a garden, but it was all like on an acre of land, so really small. And then just went to school in Santa Cruz for a while, so moved to the beach, and then found Mono Lake and fell in love.
Eventually, I feel like my impression with the farms in the valley is that it just goes from the father to the son or to the children. Just otherwise, I can't imagine there can't be that many people who'd be like, oh yeah, I'll just buy this massive land and do all that work for, I don't know.
It is very generational. Like we didn't have a farm per se, but we did try to like live
off of the land?
Yeah, a little, like I'd say like maybe 10%, and the rest was
on
more
the side.
conventional. But yeah, there's a lot of like almonds and rice are like the two main things over there.
Rice.
Yeah.
Rice. I've seen a lot of other stuff, but I haven't seen rice that much.
There's
maybe like south.
Yeah, and like thinking about water, like both of those crops are so water dependent, so that's another like facet of water in California and water needs, because rice paddies, they have to be in
submerged almost
feet of water, and almonds take a lot of water too, so
that's ridiculous.
It's intense. Because there's the Los Angeles Aqueduct that brings water from the creeks here down to LA, but then also
what's it look like the old Roman aqueduct where you could like walk on top? And
a lot of it is below. They actually like tunneled through the Mono craters like for about 11 miles. So it's below there, which is really good compared to the California Aqueduct. The California Aqueduct is more of that like open, and so a lot of it is lost to evaporation. So this aqueduct is like an underground tunnel where the water isn't lost as much, but so on the eastern side of the Sierra, on the western side of the Sierra, and then also the Colorado River, that gets into an aqueduct sent down to LA.
Where's the Colorado River? That's more down east?
East and south of us. So Los Angeles is getting water from hundreds and hundreds of miles away. It's pretty wild.
Because how big is Los Angeles?
I've been there a few times, but endless. I remember last time I was there, I was up on a hill and just looking out, there's just like buildings, skyscrapers.
Like compared to San Francisco?
Yeah. I don't know like how many times bigger than San
It would
Francisco.
be like more stretched out.
Yeah. Huge.
San Francisco, I don't know, it wasn't that big, no? It's like you get this central area, but it runs off to the ocean,
Right.
kind of with the park, and you have like Oakland and the other suburbs.
Yeah, like the east side. Yeah, so Mono Lake is kind of deceptive, but 2 San Franciscos is like the size of Mono Lake.
Wait, so San Francisco is twice the size? Or
So Mono Lake, 2 San Franciscos can fit into the surface area of Mono.
serio?
Yeah, it's I think San Francisco is like San Francisco proper is 7 miles by 7 miles.
Okay.
So Mono Lake is like 7 miles by 14 miles.
All right.
So 2 cities can fit here.
Jeez.
Yeah, it doesn't look that big, but it goes out for a while.
We've seen it when I was up at Mandana.
Oh,
You can see it.
yeah.
I was also told before that it gets pretty fierce winds over it, and that people like you're allowed to go into the onto the central island, you could camp and what have you, but then you wouldn't be able to come back like in the afternoon, quite likely, and the rescue service is not gonna come save you because
Yeah.
it's too bad.
It's like we told you. Yeah, because there's like cold air up in the mountains and the desert to the east. When the desert heats up and like the hot air
Throughout the day.
rises, yeah, the cold air coming out of the Sierra.
Just gets sucked in, kind of
Yeah, so almost every afternoon is
windy.
really windy.
Oh.
And, because Mono Lake is chemically unique and like highly alkaline, it kicks up really caustic dust, and so yeah, it's dangerous not only for the waves, but you just don't want to be breathing the air that the lake is kind of moving along.
So you really would have to overnight there.
Yeah, I haven't overnighted on that island, but I hear there's like a lot of geothermic action that happens, like
You could
not hot,
dip your feet.
yeah, like hot springs, but there's like steamy fissures in the island, and
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. Yeah, NASA was just out here doing some testing for, I forget which moon they want to go to in 2050, but it's an ice moon, I think of Saturn, I think. And so to like work on doing water sampling and water collecting, they came out to Mono Lake because it's so unique to be like, oh, can our instruments like survive this water? And the rover that's on Mars, they tested around Mono Lake too, because it's so
Damn.
otherworldly and unique. So yeah,
It's
investing in science down the road.
awesome. You can find so many landscapes in the US. You can replicate other planets even
Yeah.
by that. Damn.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I really do love it here, because like right now we're in desert, but if you just like go up the canyon, you know, where you were yesterday or the day before, you're in the pine forest or in the creeks, and so it doesn't take much distance to cover a lot of ecosystems.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
really nice. Yeah.
Well, but you wouldn't swim in here very much.
I usually like to dip like 2 to 3 times in the summer,
Okay.
because you float, but then it is really nice to have somewhere like fresh water to rinse off,
All right. Yeah.
because it is.
Yeah, I know the feeling from the ocean.
Yeah.
It's like messes up my hair every time.
Yeah, you're just like covered in salt and different little sediments too. So
And shrimp.
and shrimp and brine shrimp. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. They're so cute though.
Yeah, I've seen them in a visitor center yesterday. They look
Yeah.
a little alien.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. Like beyond how many there are, like the trillions of them, In the summer, the females give birth to live young, and then as the days get shorter and it gets colder, they know to then lay egg sacs that sink to the bottom of the lake while it's like cold and snowy here, and then hatch the next summer. And so there's not a lot of animals that can both like give live birth and lay eggs, you know, but our shrimp do, and it's pretty unique to the species that live in Mono Lake.
How do they choose? Like depending on how they feel?
It's depending on like when it's summer and when it's warm, they know to like reproduce live young, and then as it gets like colder and the days get shorter, that's when they know like, oh, we're gonna lay our egg sac.
Do you think they have preference? They're like, oh, this is more fun, or this is more painful?
I don't think so. I think they're just like, yeah, triggered by the temperature.
How long do they live? Like,
I don't know. It's a good question.
Damn.
But yeah, like all the birds you see out here, they're eating all the shrimp.
I know.
It's okay. Yeah. In the fall time, we get this bird. It's called the eared grebe, and they stop here on their migration from Canada down to Baja. And there are over like 1 million eared grebes that come here, and so the lake is just speckled with these birds that are eating the brine shrimp and alkali fly.
Yeah.
Yeah. My coworker Robbie, you know, the airport, he goes up in this little plane and takes pictures of the lake. And one of our volunteers spends all winter like counting all of the eared grebes, like over 1 million birds. It's just like winters are really slow here.
I mean, I'd probably just go drown in the lake.
Right?
Phew.
Yeah, he's old.
Okay.
He's old. Yeah.
Okay. So for him, it's meditation.
I think so. Yeah. 1 grebe, 2 grebe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Some birds here, they're called phalaropes, and they nest up in the Arctic Circle and then come to Mono Lake. And it's great because the females of the phalaropes, they're the more brightly colored birds, which is like kind of opposite from typical birds. And she'll nest with like 1, 2, or 3 different mates. And then she either comes here to Mono Lake or to the Great Salt Lake. And it's the male that like sits on the nest, hatches the young, and raises them to juveniles. And then he and the young will come here to Mono Lake or the Great Salt Lake. And they molt new feathers and like double or triple their body weight. And then they fly down
off of the shrimp.
Yeah. And it's cool. They like swim in circles and they create this little like cyclone of shrimp. That's it's so cool to watch them. And then they do a nonstop journey that's between 3,000 and 5,000 miles from Mono Lake down to like Argentina or other salt lakes in South America. And it only takes them like 4 or 5 days.
And they sleep
They
in the air.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't know.
I want to be able to do that.
Yeah, I know,
I'm
right?
jealous. Wow.
So, you know, thinking of Mono Lake almost disappearing due to the water diversions down to LA, it's like such an important part of these journeys for these animals that connect us from the Arctic Circle down to South America, you know. And so like I always think about protecting places like Mono. It's important for this, but it's just like these animals,
so much more.
Yeah, these birds that just like connect us like across, because then they're interacting with like flamingos and other birds that then go to other places throughout the world. So it's kind of cool to think about when you protect something that you're invested in or that you're passionate about. It's not just that, it's like it's all connected.
Yeah.
So that's like when I think about the story of Mono Lake, it's just like it's great here, but it's great for everywhere. So I was kind of mentioning that last night of like this global connection. Individuals do have the power to make positive change and that it's needed.
It's too many places.
Too many places for sure. Yeah.
I was curious. There's a lot of Mark Twain mentions in the city.
Yeah, so Mark Twain, I think he called Mono Lake a dead sea, which is like obviously anything but that. You know, trillions of brine shrimp, all these birds here. So I haven't read a lot of what he has written about Mono Lake just because I feel like I don't agree with it, even though I should probably read it to make sure I don't agree with it. But
he spent some time here, or
spent some time here, yeah, talking about the lake because it's so highly alkaline. On the pH scale, it's a 9.8. Bleach is at like 10, so it's like I think he had mentioned, you know, like washing clothes in the lake because it's like detergent. Just how like alkaline and basic it is. But yeah, he spent some time out here.
What do they do, like a race yearly or some kind of celebration in a memory?
Oh, there used to be Mark Twain days. Yeah, so actually the Mono Inn, the restaurant where I live.
On a yeah, by the road.
Yeah, and there's my house, and then there was that kind of like deteriorated building that's called the Bathhouse, and they used to host Mark Twain days up there, and the Bathhouse was built to be like the bathrooms and the drinking fountains for people who would just like camp all over our yard area. I don't know if we'll bring that back or not. No, I
disappeared because of COVID, or?
No, I think it was something that hasn't happened for at least a decade or so.
People lost interest.
Yeah.
No, is it still popular? Is Mark Twain still a thing in the US?
I don't know. I feel like, you know, me growing up, I read some of his stuff in school, and it probably still is, but I think that sense of, you know, like Mark Twain and John Muir and all these people who initially came in, and I think for at least personally, it's the mindset is like shifting a little bit. Like when we think of wilderness, like wilderness didn't exist really. Like this is all, you know, indigenous people's lands that have been tended, and when like we Americans think of wilderness, it's like pristine land or untouched land, but really that's like not a thing. And so I think, yeah, people like Mark Twain or John Muir or these people who are like, we're going out into the wilderness, it's just like, well, that's actually...
Oh, that's why they're falling out of grace.
Yeah, a little bit, where it's like that.
Okay.
Like at one point it was... And there's still a lot of like the American West and the like the cowboys and the this and the that I think is really like idolized, but
for sure.
It's not.
But it's part of your culture. That's like, you know, what your ancestors did, what they believed in.
Totally. I grew up like going to rodeos and stuff like that.
Yeah. You know, so. I should go to a rodeo once, at least.
It's quite a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to figure one out eventually.
There. There's a snipe on top of that too.
Ooh. A bird.
One of my favorite birds. Pretty cute.
Oh wow. Is it a Wilson's?
Wilson snipe, yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Which like I've only seen one before ever.
I've only seen this
look.
this year. I've seen the snipe here more just this season since like the past 10 years.
Yeah.
I see it just about every time.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I remember coming down here with Nora one time, and one like popped up, and we were like losing our minds. And that was just hanging out, very conspicuous.
Do you prefer it down here, up in the mountains? Or do you miss the ocean?
Yeah, all of it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a three-way tie.
Yeah.
It's nice being able to be down here and up in the mountains so easily.
Do you like a favorite spot up in the mountains, or?
I do have a few favorite spots. Yeah, up in the mountains and also on the northeast side of the lake. I have a.
You have to fly over.
You can bike there.
Oh, cool.
Actually, one of my favorite flowers, which is on this shirt, the blazing star, it blooms out in the volcanic soil over there, and it's just like this beautiful display of yellow flowers against like the black volcanic rock. That's just amazing. So that's my favorite, one of my favorite spots over here.
How long would you take to bike over?
Like less than an hour.
No, it's not that bad.
It's a pretty good loop. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, from my house, kind of like biking, there's some dirt roads around that are pretty great. Just little jaunts from the house and back.
Nice.
Yeah, what I was telling you about last night, Lundy Canyon is like one of my favorite spots in the mountains up there where there's like waterfalls and beaver dams and flowers, and so for anyone who ever comes to the Mono Basin, go to Lundy Canyon.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I really like the Juneau Lake Loop yesterday, and I've been.
Yeah, June Lake Loop is amazing.
It's super cool.
Yeah.
Do people actually use the highway to go all the way, like from Los Angeles, I don't know, to Reno, even further north? Isn't it much better to fly?
I think it depends on like people's vacation style. If they want to, like road trip and stop at all the different places along the way. Yeah, it kind of depends. But yeah, the 395 is one of the main corridors along California. And then on the west side, Highway 5 and Highway 99 are they're like the veins of the state. So
running north-south.
Yeah. So a lot of people do like to drive it.
Yeah. Well, I feel like you do have to kind of branch out. If you just drive a highway, I don't know. Well, it feels pretty bland to me.
Yeah. I mean, this is known as like a scenic corridor. So from like Mammoth Lakes or a little bit south up towards Reno, it's like a lot of beautiful spots to kind of turn out and see. But on the west side, going up like the Valley of California is like kind of boring. It's the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
But,
Do you still get a lot of influence by like political decisions out here, or do you not feel it as much?
influence of
politics and of like the big city culture?
Yeah, I mean, California in general, I think for my political views is in line for the most part. I think I was telling you last night, like being in such a small community, I feel like I do have a voice in what happens in my town and my county, and, you know, attending meetings that I'm just like, I can comment on this, you know, building that you want to build or this or that. So, you know, there's a lot of levels. So
yeah,
in the nuclear sense, I feel like I do have a lot of say. In California, I feel like it's pretty in line with my views, but then things that are happening nationally right now are not good.
No.
Scary.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Like taking away women's reproductive rights recently.
And that's just been established across the US.
Yeah.
And there's no going away.
Yeah, like within the same week, the Supreme Court decided that states have the right to have control of what's going on with guns in each state. And then, like, 3 days later, they're like, it's the federal government that decides what happens with women's bodies. And so there's, like, inconsistencies with decisions where right now, like, guns in the U.S. have more rights than women. That's like.
So you would have to like fly out to Canada if you need it, or.
So California is protected, and some other states around here and on the West Coast, but it's mostly like middle of the country and in the south of like the southern United States, where it's illegal to get an abortion or like get protective care. So
you'd have to move out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But like being able to move is expensive
It's
and
privilege.
privilege.
Just
and
about,
so
yeah, that's fair.
It is, disproportionately affecting, people of color or lower socioeconomic people. And
For
so,
sure.
Privileged people can still seek what they
Live
need.
their life comfortably.
Yeah. So, and it's our like Supreme Court that is making these decisions, and just like the rest of the country, it is very split between like liberal and conservative.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the conservative justices that are on the Supreme Court were brought in with presidents that didn't win the popular vote in the US, and because of our like electoral college they won, and it's a mess. I don't feel like it's representative of the actual people. So
But it's difficult because so many people who are conservative, like in Central America, who are losing their livelihoods even like because of less trucks going across the country and because of agriculture changing, and so they're afraid for their livelihoods, and it's very different from like the liberal California, I feel like. So it's really, the country is so vast and lifestyles are so different.
yeah.
Like just trying to put one lid on all of it, it will always be on one side or the other.
It's true. I feel like there's a lot of hypocrisy too, where it's just like, I want freedom, but control this.
Yeah,
Or,
right?
and
For sure.
And I think, one of the things we were talking about this morning, education systems, education is so vital to everyone. And I think the U.S. is kind of actively uneducating a lot of people, or like minimal education to like create this, not like faction or divide or whatever, but just to know what human life is worth and like what is healthy for everyone and what we all need. Like keeping people uneducated is keeping our country from having like universal health care or like things that are just like,
Yeah. It's very, again, some of the things you get at Yosemite, the other national parks, I feel like they get so much protection, so much care. Like in that aspect, the US has really astonished me how much how much the land is cared for and how much they're trying to restore it, bring it back.
Yeah.
And so there's a big striking difference in between how much attention is being paid to what aspect of the culture and life, and I guess it's a reflection of the country as a whole as well, like how people think and
I think that is a redeeming part of the US.
Right.
Like the thought of protecting places has been really important in our culture, and so that's a good part of it. And saving places like this and keeping space is good.
because you always have to start, as a individual, you start with small steps. You go, you do a little bit, and then you become comfortable, so you start doing a little bit more. Well, it's the same thing at national level, and then it just happens there. This is maybe a first step, and it may expand from there.
And the younger generations of living through pandemic and inflation and things, like I think our younger folks are really feeling empowered to make positive change.
And do you really feel it on yourself, that thing, or when I was my brother's age, I was thinking a lot more like him, of being able to do stuff and like change things and being really positive, and things are gonna get better. And now 15 years later, I'm like, oh no, screw it, it's all gone to, you know, a bad place, and I'm not gonna be dealing with it. So I've really like crossed the divide onto the other side, and I'm very skeptical, and not like you know, in certain aspects in any case, in which my brother is like, oh, but you know, this is all, we're gonna make it work. And I'm like, in 5 years' time, you will know that it's not gonna happen.
It's day to day for me a lot. And I do find peace here and like talking to people and working with kids. I'm just like, wow, yeah, like there is hope. And then there are some days that I'm just like,
watch the world burn.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not having kids, you know, like, I'm not trying to buy property, you know, I'm just, put my lawn chair out and watch it all collapse. So it definitely depends on.
What's the dominant impression or the dominant feeling in you?
I think the latter is the one that really exists more. And so just like bigger picture things with myself and my life, like making decisions based on that.
Yeah.
But it really is like, you know, when you take a group of third graders out, or like
There's a fly. You spooked out.
Or, you know, college kids who are like really like focused on good things. Like it does give me hope, but for the most part, it's scary.
But it's just like in Japan, there's such a big divide in between growing up and adulthood, and I feel like we get the same thing in this sense that while you're growing up, you still have the family protection, you get the, you know, the freedom to kind of be thinking your thoughts and be trying to do stuff, and then you finish university and it's like you get kicked out, especially in the US. It's like, oh, you have a massive loan on your back, you have to pay off, and suddenly like the family pressure changes, and now you're expected to have a house, a family, start building a career, and like you don't have the time, the freedom to still be the optimistic person that you were before, because you have to pay all these bills. You're so much to look after. We still get the same way. In Japan, it's just very pronounced, very obvious, the break. But for majority of people in here, you know, that's why you get the impression, oh, young generation's so chirpy, they're like, oh yeah, we'll make that happen. And no, they get a loan, and if they want to pay it off, they'll have to abide by the rules of the society, otherwise they're not going to get money, and you know, they'll drop off. There's no change happening the way a system's set up. Right. It's very pessimistic, but
but that is the world we're living in, for sure.
Yeah, I know. I'm really hopeful that I'm wrong. That, you know, people break through. But so far, it's only been getting worse. Like, I feel like when I was, you know, 10, 15 years ago, things are really cool. And now the governments kind of realize that we gave too much freedom to people. Let's shut it all down.
And my friend's like, technology will save everything. And I'm like, it's actively ruining everything.
This is getting very controlled.
Yes.
And I like Corona as a good excuse to control a movement of population. Again, like, oh, these are the rules. You know, have to have a vaccine to be able to move. And if that's not a rule you want to follow, well, you have to stay in place. You know, that's been unheard of before Corona. Suddenly it's like societally accepted. This just, oh, it's for your good, it's for your protection. I don't know.
A whole lot like the common ducks.
I think it's like,
So the duck is swimming.
I don't know. I don't like to go down that road too much, because I feel like everyone had their own experience with it, and Oh, I feel like it was much worse in the less developed countries.
my friends like Brazil, India, everybody lost one or multiple relatives. Like personally, I'd be hard pressed to think of somebody who has died from corona, which, yeah, it's like a big difference.
And even like between here and LA, like Los Angeles was hit really hard, but here we're, you know, like pretty spread out, and like our community, you know, like we know each other, we know everybody, and so we did a lot to like protect each other. So like here, it wasn't as intense. But
there's a lot of fear in Japan. People are like super scared, and there are like some very, very extreme cases of suicide and really big pushback if you chose like personal connections of a society and then you happened to be infected. But Japan's always extreme in everything, so it's pretty intense and interesting to watch.
Yeah. I think it's just wild that it was something that touched literally
just about everybody.
Everyone on Earth, everyone had their own personal experience, you know, and so I've gone through a lot of different phases, as everyone I'm sure has, but I'm thinking like, unvaccinated friends, I'll never talk to you ever again, to be like, whatever, like we all just went through a trauma.
But it's like in the US, it's always like, are you left or right, are you following the rules, are you not, are you doing this or that? It's always like with us or against us, and it's just like such a big theme throughout everything in the US, like, are you on my side, are you on the other side? It became a little bit like that with Corona in Europe, because just of how big of a question it was. But before then, it really like is so much more gray. You know, like we disagree in this, we agree in this, so let's go all get drunk, and then nobody cares anymore. Like you'd see it much less, those kind of like really firm stands and this or that. Corona is like a first big thing that I've perceived that it's happening with for us. And now it's slowly like, then it's just another fad. By now, there's only very few people anymore that care.
It's weird because, you know, it's still like very, like if you get it, there's this amount of days where you have to stay home from work or this or that. And like with other like colds or infections, it's like, just come back when you feel better, you know? It's the whole thing has been so messy, and it just continues to be very messy. you know, like,
well, it takes a while for the dust to settle. New thing.
But I was in that little house like by myself for a year and a half. Like, it was hard. Hard, you know, and it's like, obviously I was able to explore, so I had it a lot better than a lot of people, and I didn't lose anyone, so I had it a lot better than a lot of people. But for, you know, being lonely is rough.
Surprisingly, right? For people who like nature and being alone, it's just suddenly it's like, well,
forced loneliness. Not okay.
Suddenly it becomes an issue.
I do feel like moseying back kind of soon would be good.
No worries, absolutely.
Okay.
Let's try.
That tufa chunk this time last year was, you know, an island in the water, so the lake is still kind of dropping.
Isn't that because summer's coming up now?
It's there's just like not a lot of snowpack up in the Sierra. This winter I think we had like 40% of average. So less snow means less water
Come down.
So.
For sure. How deep does it go?
So the deepest part is on the east side of that big island there. It's about 150 feet deep. But because of the tufa and because of like the volcanic activity happening, it varies quite a bit. But, I think the average is like 50 feet deep or so. So not incredibly deep, you know, not like Lake Tahoe or Crater Lake in Oregon, which is one of the deeper lakes.
How does it compare to Tahoe? Is Tahoe bigger?
Yeah, Tahoe's bigger,
Yeah.
and Tahoe is a freshwater lake, so yeah, fish in Tahoe, and
That's kind of why it's
Yeah.
that popular.
yeah,
It's like more recreation. This one be more education.
yeah, because
like-
you know, it's the shrimp boat goes out on the lake, and then we have a research boat that goes out on the lake, but you have to clean it, like clean out the engine, clean out the motor, because the water is so caustic, and so it's kind of nice because there aren't speedboats everywhere out on Mono Lake. You can kayak and canoe,
Yeah.
but
But if you fall,
you float.
full of shrimp.
Yeah, full of shrimp. Not too into the shrimp.
Like when you kayaking, can you actually see them? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
like
cool.
big swaths of.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. It's like, it's cool. Yeah, they're just like clouds of shrimp.
I used to dive with jellyfish. It's a bit more scary because if you fall, you're gonna get hurt.
Yeah, yeah. You don't get stung by shrimp. Shrimp don't hurt you.
Damn.
Where did you dive with jellyfish?
Vietnam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't dive. I was just like,
Oh, on boats.
yeah, it was like sat on a paddleboard and watched like these. Some of them were, very big. The teeny ones, they kind of sting more anyway. And if you see 100 in the water around you, like, well, I'm not going out there now.
Oh man.
In any case. No.
Was there the bioluminescence there too?
Couple times, yeah, I've been able to see it.
Have you seen the Northern Lights?
Did ones.
Yeah. That's like one of the things that I want to do next, is see the Northern Lights.
It's based on luck.
Yeah.
You could be there a month and not see a thing in the best season. You could be there one night and get the most beautiful show you could see.
Yeah.
I don't know. You'd have to go somewhere, Canada or Alaska. Otherwise, I don't think like the US as such goes further up north.
Yeah, no. I've heard like during like extreme electromagnetic events, like there are some places in the US you could see them, but yeah, you definitely have to go up north. But yeah, I want to go to South America, ride my bike. I want to see the Northern Lights. Those are kind of my next goal.
Opposites.
Yeah,
But it's cool. Whichever way you go, you have something to look for.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Definitely after 2 years of non-traveling, have the travel bug a little bit.
Yeah. What about in South America? Do you have preference?
I don't know.
The cities, nature, mountains.
Yeah, I did. When I was biking around New Zealand, I met some cyclists from Argentina, and they said that that's really good for cycling.
It
and
feels like a cool country.
yeah.
Sure.
And then my coworker's from Colombia, and he usually spends about 2 months in Colombia leading birding tours. When it's snowy here, he goes down there, and so
Nice.
Colombia's always reached out to me. And then a sister lake of Mono, Mar Chiquita, is one that I want to bike around to and see. Like the birds that are here, I'll go visit them down.
That's your foothold.
Yeah.
How to get there and be like, well, once I'm here, now that I'm here, it's just a couple of weeks extra.
Yeah.
You
It's
could totally combine that.
yeah. It's like you only took 4 or 5 days to fly here, and yeah, you came on a plane or months of biking or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But you've been on a bike in New Zealand by yourself?
That was like my big ride.
Yeah.
A few months, and I went around the South Island like 1.5 times.
Nice.
And just took it slow and did touristy stuff. And
Yeah, that's what you want anyway. Just have your own pace.
yeah. And then all of my other trips have been in California, mostly like up and down the coast, or
Yeah.
like day trips around here. So
I get you.
yeah,
Nice. Now, like, if you only get one country, New Zealand's a good country to get,
it was good.
for sure.
Yeah, I met this bicyclist who was native to New Zealand, and he didn't have a lot of experience biking, but he had made little seed bombs of just like native plant seeds that was like in clay, and so he was just biking around and like dropping all these seed bombs everywhere, and
Just for fun.
just for fun, and to like to help like native vegetation. And it reminded me, one of my favorite childhood books was called The Lupin Lady. I should find it for you somehow, but it's a story about this woman who just like traveled the world, and then when she got older,
It's quite right there. Oh, sorry, it's gone.
she just like rode her bike around her little town and planted lupins everywhere. And then she passed away before like seeing the lupins bloom, but it was like after she passed, like her town was just covered in lupins and beauty, and it's just like I don't know, I think reading that as a kid kind of got me excited about like traveling and biking and like plants, and it's a good one.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, it's nice when you can get inspiration like that.
Yeah. Well, it's like when you're older and you look back of like things that, like when you were a kid, that influenced your life that you didn't really realize.
Yeah,
You're like influencing your life until you're an adult, and you're like, huh, that one specific book.
That'd be interesting to kind of pick my own mind, see what comes up.
Yeah.
What can I get?
Yeah. What was like in the back of your brain?
Yeah.
Things that were.
Because for me, it's always a case of more like having the opportunity. It's like, well, I suppose I should be doing something now, and then this thing comes up, and it comes, and it's like, oh, would you like to do this? And I'm like, well, okay. And it just so happened that I was always traveling.
Yeah.
Like one opportunity after another is always like, would you like to go there? Would you like to go do that there? And I'm like, well,
sure.
Oh, yeah. Sounds fun. And I'm like, oh, I've been accepted for a job in Italy. So I go, I'm like, where is Italy?
How do I get there?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of jobs were you doing?
Like in Italy, I was working in library.
Oh.
And then bartending in the evenings.
Nice.
So I was.
That's a good.
Yeah. It's pretty intense.
Balance. Or I guess like balance or difference.
Yeah. This, these specific cities where you get a lot of student cities, they're super vibrant.
Yeah.
And so many opportunities for friendships, nightlife, travel.
Yeah.
You get a lot of those in Europe. They're like cities kind of mid-sized. It just doesn't swallow you. You still kind of can have a control over, if there's like 100 events going every night.
Wow.
You just, what do I do? If there's 20, you narrow it down to 3, 4. Now with your friends, you pick one.
Yeah.
Plus, you don't really have to travel that far.
Yeah. That's
really
what I miss with the Bay Area, like being close to San Francisco and Oakland, like, yeah, let's go see a stand-up comedian and then go to the show and then sing karaoke and like all these things that you could just do. Yeah.
But I've had that for a couple of years, so now I'm doing other things. I've done that. It's cool. I know what it feels like, and so now I'm happy to pursue other interests.
Yeah, and that's what the community I found here. Even though there's like a few hundred people that live here, you kind of have to be in a similar mindset to call this place home.
You have to fit in.
Yeah.
No other way.
And so there's just like a really great community here that's, like outdoor enthusiasts, and like we love to hang out, but also we love to like be by ourselves too.
Yeah, you're allowed to this much space.
Yeah, it's a good balance.
Is this just grass under us, or would that be pretty damp?
I think it is pretty damp. This is like an aquatic plant. I I think it's a sedge, or like carex is the Latin name, and so it's associated with damp areas.
Okay.
But I think the boardwalk was built with the intention of like the lake level rising, and so, you know, if Mona Lake is supposed to be right there, the boardwalk will be above it.
Okay, and they'll remove the bits down under.
Yeah, I think someday. Right? Trying to stay positive.
Jeez.
But this is all willow, so really like water-loving plants. And then wild roses that are also water-loving plants.
Have you ever considered that change is also part of nature? Our efforts of trying to keep the change away will go against that tendency in the nature?
Yeah, so I think of it like a lot of the work we do with stream restoration, it's to get it at a point where it's like taking care of itself a little bit. And so, you know, assisting in damages that have been done
by humans
since like colonization, and then getting it to a point where it's just like, now you take care of yourself. So we're kind of in this like, in this period where it does need help, but there is a lot of questions that come up with restoration to be like, what are you trying to make it look like? Like, how many years ago did it look like that? What is the goals? But I just think like a self-sustaining ecosystem is like the main goal that we have here. Because streams are always changing. You know, the sign of a healthy stream is one year it was flowing this way and the next year it's flowing this way. And just being able to spread out. So
nice.
But it's also this like control over nature that is very much part of the human psyche, and like one of the first books written, the Gilgamesh. I don't know if you've read that, but it's like one of the first books, and it is like about humans' dominance over nature, and it's just like, this has existed for so long, and you know, like we think our work is for good, which I think it is still this like control, you know. And so I don't know if that answers your question, but just thinking about it in this like different context where it's just like, we're restoring streams and we're doing good, but we're still very much like hands-on.
But you have to do something, right? So, I mean, you have to eventually, and it does, you know, whether you choose to do this or that, and somebody else will choose the opposite. Right. And it's still better than water. We're still part of the ecosystem.
Water in the streams is better than in a big tube going down to LA. So that part is good.
Until people in LA start, you know, being very, very thirsty. Right.
They have done a good job. I will give it to the population, where the population's like doubled in the past few decades, and their water usage has kind of stayed the same. So they are becoming more aware of the effects that, you know, big populations have on water usage. So that's good. That's good.
Yeah, it's so difficult, you know, when you think about myself. I mean, I love hot shower. So the idea of, you know, for the good of humanity, for the good of the earth, you shall never have a hot shower again. I'm like, I mean, is it strictly necessary?
Well, you focus yourself, you know, it's like the balance of you're not extracting resources in a lot of other ways, so
I try
hot shower.
I try to balance out my hot showers in other areas.
I think you're doing good.
That's how I've learned to live with myself.
And that's what it is, of like, at least people like recognizing that balance needs to be struck instead of just like being all in it.
Yeah.
So
I know a lot of people who love cold showers. So I'm like, let's be buddies. What do I do for you?
I like that. That's really funny. Yeah. Yeah, it's just like recognizing that, like, again, yeah, there's like the little things you can do to help out and then to treat yourself at the same time and find it a little bit.
Oh,
Like it's picking time.
nice. Yeah, it's just like a quiet area.
Yeah, it's really peaceful here. I have like a little zone over there
Children.
where I do my stretches,
Oh, cool.
my afternoon yoga.
Oh, you're way ahead of me. I'm always so tired after the bike. I'm like, oh, nope.
Well, this is after I'm like in the office or something all day and I'm like, I need to go on my
Balance
run.
that out. Yeah. Was it always? Like, was it always you doing office job? Or did you just, was it handed down to you?
Yeah, so a lot of my work before this position was way more outside, way more in the field. One of my first jobs, I worked for like a stream scientist and we went to like 80 different places around California. And my job was to like look at the vegetation and give it like a grade on how healthy the stream was based on vegetation.
You're welcome to keep them, but I thought maybe.
Thank you. How was your walk?
Good.
Good.
Yeah, lasted a while, but yeah.
Nice.
No, it was really good.
Thanks for pointing out the snipe. I'll have to come. I haven't been birding down here in a while.
Yeah.
To come back and check it out.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And sitting on top of the tufa, it's like, even Dave was like, I've never seen it do that before. It's weird.
Does it mean you're getting more birds now? Or like over the years?
You know, it's just changing.
Yeah?
Kind of.
So it's
There's-
natural? Probably. Nice.
Hopefully natural in a good way, natural. I don't know. There's some things that I'm not seeing as much, and some birds more. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's an app online. It's called eBird. And it's just like whoever can just say what birds they're seeing where. And it's kind of a good like communal science to track like bird quantities and diversity throughout the years of, and just like see the changes that are happening.
Yeah, it would be
Yeah.
interesting to look at eBird like that.
Yeah.
Citizen science.
Yeah. Yeah, we do a Christmas bird count every year too, a little bit before Christmas, and just
And then you eat one.
and then the Canada goose. But just to like see what's going on, because that's probably one of the longest lasting birding, citizen science thing that's been happening. So, but like the swallowtails, these butterflies,
They're
like
super abundant.
this year, there are so many of them. And we're just like, we don't know why.
It's just a good year
It's great.
for the particular species.
Yeah, yeah. And butterflies especially, I feel like, are such like indicator species that like butterflies and amphibians, like because they're such sensitive animals, like if there is a shift in ecosystem or climate or whatever, they're the ones who suffer first. And so like there's obviously things happening, but to see butterflies in abundance, it's kind of like a,
Yeah, it's nice.
it's good. It's calming.
good sign.
It's calming.
Nice.
Yeah.
Just try for butterflies.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
A lady this morning was
There's Lewis's. Nice.
California quail.
Bird up there.
I'm like, I am seeing a lot less of them. They used to be all over our road, like every day. You know?
I feel like I have a not good picture in my yard because Patty feeds them all. So I'm just like, I don't know. It's like all the doves and the blackbirds. So cool.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm
Thank
gonna
you.
do a South Tufa tour for Nora. And Yeah, it's my Friday, so.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'd love to talk about Seneca days. How'd that go? I mean, we don't have to talk now.
Yeah,
I'm not worried. I'm not going to tell them what to do.
Well, and I talked to Dean, and his expectations are like, I told him about like the osprey here, and that he was like, oh, I don't want to disrupt the osprey, so hopefully we can land at Tioga Lodge.
Like colleagues and friends.
Yeah,
That's
so
perfect. Anyway, I mean,
I left
that
a
makes so much
message
sense.
for George. So, and there's probably like a 10% chance that'll actually happen because they want to do it in the afternoon when it's windy.
I've got a key, too, if that would be helpful to the gate.
Do I even have to go through George?
I mean,
I should.
for that kind of thing, I would say yeah,
Okay.
but they gave us, we signed a new contract that says we can access that whenever we want.
Yay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll be in touch about it. Cool.
That's like where the road continues. If you were to bike, you'd be going through here into the
Yeah,
back.
you go through there, pass a few creeks, you pass by the cemetery, and then there's a geologic feature behind us. It's called Black Point, and that actually erupted at like a past lake level of Mona Lake, like during the past glacial period. Mona Lake was like much, much, much deeper.
Yeah.
And so Black Point erupted below the surface of Mono, and then like after the last glacial period, it dropped significantly, yet slowly, not like what we saw with water diversions.
Right.
And so Black Point is the only volcano that erupted below water that's now above water.
Like
There's-
on Earth, or
I think
surely
in
not?
North America,
Okay.
I think. But if you hike up to the top of it, there are fissures because when it cooled, it like cracked, and there's these big canyons on top of, not big canyons, but canyons on top of Black Point that you can walk through that are super cool. So
Whoa.
yeah, and then on the north side, like all the blazing stars that are blooming are over there too. So, but it's just kind of like biking through desert. A lot of sagebrush,
Yeah.
pretty dry. Yeah.
It is. Wow. It's like 3 hours to Tahoe by car.
Yeah, I would
I was
say.
just looking at it. It really works out. Like 1 hour in car is about 1 day on a
Right?
bike.
Yeah.
For me,
yeah.
it's just really embarrassing. But
No. Yeah. So this woodpecker, they're pretty rare, but it's been out and about. We call them the watermelon birds because they're like pink with green, so they look like little watermelons.
whoa.
It's cool to see them.
What's like the most common fruit here then that you like have most commonly around?
There's a lot of apples. Fruit, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of apple
Isn't
trees.
it too hot for apples?
They do well. Yeah, and they survive the winter too, which is
Because
kinda
we grow
surprising.
apples.
Yeah.
And it's way different climate.
Yeah, I think maybe they're just more adjusted, and there actually used to be a lot more agriculture here in the Mono Basin because there are mining towns that are now like ghost towns, but mining towns around where people would grow like cantaloupe and other fruit here, which just like blows my mind.
Damn.
They used to be able to do that. But
Yeah. Have you seen Stranger Things?
I started watching it, but it's a little too scary for me.
Okay. I've seen
What about you?
I've seen first season, and then I decided that the plot line doesn't hold well enough for me, so dropped it. But
Yeah.
apparently it's been like second, third season, what have you, were not as popular in the US as well, but now it's making a massive comeback.
Yeah, I've heard the internet.
But you wouldn't really care much here, would you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Just
Things kind of just go past you.
yeah.
It's a beauty.
Yeah.
You're just staying more with nature, less with online
I mean,
world.
I definitely get sucked in to online world for sure, but yeah, with Stranger Things, I'm just
Nope.
not for me. Not for me.
Yeah.
I like fantasy and
Do you have a favorite show?
magic. I grew up watching a lot of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, hell yeah. That is one of the best, easily.
Yeah.
100%.
But also like kind of scary.
Yeah, well, if you look at it now, you'd probably laugh a
I know,
lot.
so cheesy.
It's sad because I love the show and I love the memories I have of it, but I'm very well aware that I can never ever watch it again
Yeah.
because I just ruined the memory.
Right.
It wouldn't be the same.
Right. No, me and my best friend Danny, I remember we would like watch it, like her in her house and me in my house. And every commercial break, we would like call each other on the
Yeah.
landline to be like, "Can you believe Xander?" Blah 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 blah. You know?
Really?
It's just
Whoa!
like that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, we're way different now, but that sounds wow.
Yeah.
Like you really get into it.
Yeah.
Nice.
But no, I don't know. Yeah, I don't watch a lot of TV, but
No, it's all like Netflix or just online with no
Yeah.
ads.
it's more of like when I have a big day and I want to turn my brain off. Like that's when I watch TV instead
Yeah.
of like shows that I turn my brain on to watch.
Yeah,
It's just more of like background noise or whatever.
for sure.
But,
Yeah, I used to use Twitch for that actually.
yeah.
Just like find a person I follow, so I know what to expect. It's kind of like with a show, right? You already know the setting, you know your ABC. You just tune in, you let it, you forget about it, and like 4 hours later, you're like, oh, like it's moved 2 channels.
Yeah.
You know, 2 programs different. You noticed?
Yeah. Yeah, and I have a lot of podcasts like that where I've listened to them like over and over again to where like the voices are really like comforting and you know it's not like it's just kind of like on in the background.
Yeah.
Especially during the pandemic being so isolated, like having other voices
Yeah.
around, I feel like I shifted from music to like podcasts and books on tapes just to like hear people.
It allows you to get into your zone.
Yeah.
Lets you get trigger,
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let it go a little bit.
Done.
Yeah, there's this so yeah, I do like fantasy stuff. Like D&D. I played D&D a little bit during the pandemic.
Online or?
Online with some friends around here.
It's pretty different.
It was so fun though. It was so fun.
Awesome.
And there's this podcast that I love called Hello from the Magic Tavern, and it's like a human from Earth like falls through a portal to this like fantasy land, and he hosts an interview show with a wizard and a shapeshifter, and it's just like so funny, but like also so immature, like stupid junior high jokes, you know. But I fell in love with it, and so that's one of my favorite podcasts, and I highly recommend it.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Hello
from the Magic Tavern.
from the Magic Tavern.
Yeah.
Cool.
But your sense of humor does have to be like a middle school boy.
All right, aligned. It's good to have right expectations.
To put the warning out there, yeah.
Nice.
But that goofiness is great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just sometimes it clicks, sometimes, you know, it's same flavor of jokes. I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
But sometimes you're just really having a good time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, alleviate some of that ongoing pressure of the world too, just to laugh at stupid jokes is really nice sometimes.
100%.
Yeah. How's everyone doing?
Oh, people must listening.
Cool.
I'm not sure, like, about 2/3 understand, all right?
Okay.
And then people that don't understand, they'll probably just give it a miss.
Yeah. Okay.
But no, It's been great.
I've done this before.
Like last year, I used to have my cell phone on a stick. So I'd always have to like hold it like a robot and point it.
Yeah.
I just prefer this so much more. It's so much
nice.
more natural.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because if you have the thing like this the whole time, it's like you're really being interviewed,
Yeah.
and I don't like that either.
Yeah, it's nice and like passive and
So
kind of forget that it's there.
that's really much better when you know you're just kind of listening in. I'm happy that I got this now.
That's great.
And
Like it.
yeah, hopefully pushes us forward. But yeah, I think I'll just say goodbye somewhere around here.
Cool. Yeah.
Then obviously I'll message you afterwards.
That sounds good.
But I'll hover back
you'll head
into the
back?
park.
Okay, cool.
Just for the benches and the shade.
Yeah, that's nice over there.
And then I'll go work on my pictures from the valley.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll probably be back at like 6 or so and we can figure
Be
out
in
whatever.
touch. Absolutely.
Awesome.
A můžete poděkovat ještě a Rose a to a pak budeme chvilku ještě společně, co vy na to? No. How your name?
Rose?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you happy with it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I do love
Do
it.
you identify yourself with roses?
Yeah.
Which color?
I don't know about color, but kind of the counterbalance of being like soft and prickly is really nice.
Nice.
So
Yeah, it's for me, roses were always red. And then I went to a couple of botanical gardens and saw all the beautiful colors.
yeah, I like the peachy and the yellows.
Yeah.
They're really nice. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, you wouldn't, it's not a name you'd meet very commonly back home.
Oh, really?
Like, you get a lot more freedom in the US to just, I don't know, if an iPhone's, I'm sure there's somebody out there named iPhone, you know, and Apple
Right.
for the Apple.
Right,
Back
right.
home, so you really should choose from the calendar a list of names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a good one. And my sister is Elise, which is lovely. But she was almost fern. So we almost had like a plant theme.
Wow.
So, yeah. Well,
Yeah, people are saying, all the goodbyes and thank yous.
thank you, everyone. This has been really nice. I wish I didn't have to go to work. So,
Thank you for your time, really appreciate it.
been
Taking your
lovely.
morning out.
it's been lovely. All right.
Very nice.
I'll catch you later.
Sure,
Bye,
will do.
everyone.
Good luck catching up on work.
Thank you.
Hope you manage.
It'll be good.
Ty jo, tak jo. Tak jsme zase zpátky, ještě si dojdeme sednout do toho parku, popovídat si pro lidi, kteří nejsou anglicky tak zdatní. Děkuji, že jste vydrželi a kdo jste poslouchali, tak doufám, že vás to bavilo. Řekněte, co si myslíte o tom. Rosa, tahle paní, přes Warm Showers, o ní zůstávám, to je ta platforma, která už mi ušetřila hodně peněz a hodně problémů, bez který by to bylo o poznání horší tady. Něco jako couchsurfing, pokud jste na kole, jedete dlouhou vzdálenost, tak tohle jsou lidi, kteří pak poskytují ubytování, sprchu, práčku. A v Americe jich je fakt hodně, takže není to úplně takhle jako Warm Showers Tour, ale to bylo moje 4. místo, v kterém jsem zůstával, zvlášť takhle na té cestě. Tohle je ta cesta, kdy jezdí všichni na kole, tak na ní je potom hodně lidí právě takhle, který jakoby s tím pomáhají. Děkuji za všechny srdíčka, pozdravy a tak. Nic se nerozuměl, to je mrzí prcku, no jo. Titulky mě mrzí úplně nejvíc ze všeho, že nemáme, že nejste potom schopný třeba tohle sledovat, no. Ale dojdeme si sednout do stínu a zkusím ty nejzajímavější třeba věci nějak ještě rekapitulovat pro vás a byste měli pocit, že jste z toho taky něco měli, tady z toho povídání si, to je jeho první v Americe, o velký povídání si. A zrovna to dopadlo tady na to krásné jezero a fakt jsme měli štěstí, že zůstávám u člověka, který se živí tím, že se jako o něj stará a bojuje za něj. Takže to nebylo jenom takový to moje, tady je strom, tam je pták. Skutečně věděla, co se děje a jak ty věci vypadají a tak si myslím, že jsme měli fakt štěstí, no, s tím, že jsme se trefili dobře. Něco i naučil, no vidíš, krása, ty jo. Nonverbální komunikaci ladí net, ale jo. Aspoň, že jste se bavili. Tahle stránka je něco jako dospělejší a zatím taková uzavřenější než Couchsurfing, který se hodně zvrhnul a teď už je takový všelijaký a pofidérní. Tahle stránka pořád ještě jako si lidi můžou navzájem věřit a je to fajn. Má to $30 za životní členství, takže ve chvíli, kdy to využijete jednou, dvakrát, tak už se vám to prakticky vyplatí. Zvlášť v Americe. A právě pak můžete potkat takhle úžasní lidi. Takže to budeme zkoušet dál a dál, asi pokud se vám to líbilo aspoň trošku. Pokud ne, tak ty lidi asi stejně teďka už nejsou. Ale budeme zkoušet takhle dál, jako nacházet lidi, kteří právě by nás třeba trošku nám ukázali ten svůj koutek světa. Přes Warm Showers to vypadá, že to je třeba trošku jednodušší. Přes Workaway tam jako všichni očekávají, že přes 14 dní budeš se jim hrabat v líně nebo malovat stěny a nejsou jako moc připravený na to, aby místo toho ti jako jeden den povídali o tom, proč potřebují tu stěnu vymalovat. To vypadá, že Workaway je pro tohle z toho lepší poměrně platforma. Bejčne, děkuji za rýsa, vítej, jinak doufám, že jsem nic neprošvih. Jestli ještě posloucháš, děkuju. A zase je takový, no, snažím se monitorovat chat, snažím se vám odepisovat. Určitě pak můžete mít takhle otázky, jo, tak zvládli jsme všechno. Zrovna v Americe právě třeba, jako u nás se to hodně nenosí, přímo když jsme jenom sami, tak ty témata, které dáváme do off-topicu, tak v Americe jsou úplně běžný, lidi se o nich baví, zvlášť právě takhle, když jsou na stejné straně barikády. Takže s tím si myslím, že není problém, že jako není asi dobrý jako hnedka na člověka vybafnout jako s něčím takovým, ale právě takhle jako postupně. Často se o tom s lidma bavíme. Včera, co jsem zůstával u té trojice pánů, tak jsme se taky bavili o politice a jako nebyly žádný rozbitý sklenice a tak. Takže je to tady úplně běžnější, prostě, než by to bylo u nás. Asi u nás se o tom bavíme pořád v hospodách, že jo? A no, tak to. Doufám, že jste si to užili. Jdeme se tady schovat do parku a pak odpoledne už akorát budu dělat fotky. Tak dneska to je vysloveně jenom takhle stream o Mono jezeře, proto jsme to nazvali bonus, není to jako cestovní epizoda další. A máme teďka Yosemite celý, nakonec je tam 15 epizod z Yosemite a je to daný jako jedno albíčko specificky Yosemite, tady je to uložený úplně všechno tam, nevím na kolik, nějakých 20-30 hodin, jestli dohromady to vyšlo, co jsme prostreamovali tam, tak určitě pokud jste neviděli hory, nějaký části hor, tak můžete zabrousit, kouknout se ty fotky, uvidím, jak moc s tím dneska bohnu. Během odpoledne, ale chtěl bych pak zítra už určitě vyrazit dál k Tahou, kde pak máme šanci potkat třeba dalšího člověka takhle cíleně, plánovaně. Tak to jsou asi 3 až 4 dny jízdy, třeba 200 km, docela hodně do kopce. Uvidíme, jak to půjde s datama. Ale jo, máme teďka krásně zase rozmanitý streamy, že jo, tak jako jsme mívali v Japonsku, podařilo se nám do toho se napojit díky horám. Nás takhle krásně přepnuli do té možnosti zkoumat, jako pojídat si s lidma, to o co se snažím úplně nejvíc, jo. Dostat se blíž k lidem, zeptat se jich, jak se mají, jak přemýšlejí a v mezičase se chodit koukat přírodou. Ahoj, Alerione. No, tak jsem moc rád, že jako se nám daří vracet se k tomu jádru toho, co se snažíme streamovat a co se snažíme ve světě takhle zjišťovat, no, společně. A ty informace si nějak předávat a sdílet navzájem. ideálně s tím cílem, aby jsme porozuměli někomu dalšímu, aby jsme si nemysleli, že Amerika jsou jenom burgery a další jako věci, které to není, že jo. OK, špatný místo. Stříkají, jsme zpátky v tom parku a vyjedu jim tady ostříkovače naplno, ale teď už jo, blíží se poledne, takže je taková ta chvíle, když jsem i schopný je poměrně tolerovat, že do nějakých 10 minut zase uschnu. Tamhle jeden, tak možná zůstanem tady takhle přece jenom za tím stromem schovaný, aby vy jste se mi nerozpustili, kamarádi. Ale to povídejte, co si o tom myslíte, teda, co dneska, jaký jste z toho měli dojem, krom toho, že slečna je příjemná, což samozřejmě je pravda. Kdyby to byla nějaká čarodejnice, tak vás asi na návštěvu ani zvát nebudu a sám nejspíš jako co nejdřív uteču v tu chvíli, kdybych to zjistil, že je fakt zle. Sprcha zadara, to zrovna nepotřebuju, zrovna jako mám přístup k horký sprše. Ale jinak jo, jinak jako by se to taky dalo určitě takhle brát, no. To jo. No, ale vyprávěla třeba právě, to je jedna z těch, co mám z toho rozhovoru, hele, zkuste zmínit, kdo jste byli schopní sledovat ten rozhovor v angličtině, co vám z něj ulpělo asi nejvíc třeba v paměti, co vám z toho přišlo nejzajímavější, snadně nezavře do sklepa, nezavře, ale pronajímá tady si jednu takovou malou místnostku. Zeptám se, když to půjde, vyfotím ji a ukážu ji na kavárně, mimochodem. To fakt lítá. Když to půjde, tak to ukážu na kavárně, potom to místo. Nezůstává, zkusím se na to ptát, jako častěji teďka, abych mohl vám ukazovat třeba i, jak ty byty vypadají u lidí, tak aspoň na fotkách, když už tak jako nalezeme přímo s kamerou a půjde to na kavárnu, aby to nebylo veřejný. Ale spím, a tím, že má takhle jenom jednu malou místnostku, tak já spím normálně jako venku ve stanu. Jsou to 2000 tady nad mořem, takže to je, dá se, jo, na dnešek jsem se vyspal. Stejně šel jsem spát asi někde o půlnoci, nebo tak, ale vyspal jsem se, to dobrý. Pilgrime, děkuji moc za kafíčka, děkuji moc za podporu, vážím si toho, děkuju. Vidíte, jak ta voda jde úplně takhle těsně vedle mě, jsem trošku teďka zapanikařil. To jo, zastaví jako těsně tady vám za zadkem, mechanickým. A ten strom, jako úplně přesně máme takhle ten výsek, když zafouká vítr, tak budeme mokrý všichni. Ahoj, máte si, čauko, čauko. Tuším, pohledy jsem napsal včera, tyhle ty nezběratelský teda, a budu je posílat až zítra po cestě, že se najdeme společně někde. Musíme se dostat do toho většího města, to asi, já nevím, 2-3 hodinky, doufám, že ne moc díl na kole. Bude pondělí, takže pohledy z Yosemitů budou vyrážet zítra a byste měli představu potom a uvidíme, jak dlouho, většinou to trvá 2 až 4 týdny, zatím je ta naše zkušenost. Že tam lidi dělají bordel, třeba si v jezeře myjou nádobí, to si rozuměl dobře. To říkala, že o tom právě psal Mark Twain, že to jako má skoro stejný pH jako bleach, takže v tomhle jezeře, že můžou lidi takhle fungovat, ale zároveň třeba zajímavý, říkala, že lidi jako John Muir, který to je velká osobnost v parku Mark Twain, že to je průkopníci, kteří si svůj image postavili na tom, že dobývají divokou, neosídlenou zemi a že se dopouštěli té chyby, že naprosto ignorovali ty původní obyvatele, považovali je jako tamhle medvěd, tamhle indián, tamhle veverka, všechny zastřelíme, sníme a dobijeme neosídlenou zemi. A takže je teďka trošku je tlak tyhle lidi ne úplně tolik mít v popředí jako své hrdiny právě kvůli tomu, že naprosto ignorovali indiány, který tady dřív bydleli. No. Tak to je jedna zajímavá věc třeba, která mě utkvěla, kterou si já budu pamatovat. Je to trošku podobný jako s kolonizátorama v Anglii, kde taky jako ty lidi, kteří dřív byli oslavovaní jako velký průzkumníci a v dnešní době už se o nich mluví o hodně jinak, než to bylo dřív. A pak ještě třeba jedna věc, co mi přišla zajímavá, právě taky s tím spojená s Markem Twainem, který to jezero pojmenoval jako mrtvý jezero. A tak říkala, proto třeba já ho nemám tolik ráda, protože to jezero vůbec není mrtvý, je plný života, je důležitý. Tak jestli jste pochytili, říkala, že lítají ptáci z polárního kruhu někam do Argentíny a je velká migrační linie a že právě tohle jezero, ty ostrovy na něm, který dřív bývaly ostrovy, takže byly chráněný před predátorama, že používají jako bezpečnou oázu, zastávku, třeba i pro reprodukci. A když to jezero padá, tak tam pak běhají kojoti a pářejí se tam kojoti a na ptáky už nezbývá místo a najednou jakoby nemají na té cestě sever-jih kde zastavit. A takže to je třeba jedna z těch věcí, které se snaží teďka hodně vrátit zpátky do rovnováhy. Množství hmyzu, ptáků právě, no, že to bylo primárně způsobený tím, že ty přítoky, které jsou sladký, tak byly odváděny do Los Angeles pro pitnou vodu, což znamená, že tohle jezero začalo hodně klesat. A tam je teďka určitá hladina, který se snaží dosáhnout, by řekli, tohle jako to místo, kdy bude jezero zase fungovat, ten ekosystém tady tak, jak má. A to nejnižší to bylo pár desítek let dozadu, teďka se pomaličku vrací a ještě to není úplně tam, kde by to chtěli mít a jsou teplejší léta, takže se víc vypařuje vody, méně přitejká a do toho potřebují lidi víc a víc vody na pití, tak je to náročný boj. Tohle to Aldario, nepiš si. Dneska mi na Discordu někdo veselé hlásil: Vojto, moc mě to mrzí, ale jsi hrozný tyran a já tě budu muset nahlásit na Twitchi. Tak hurá do toho. A to mě jako trošku zaskočilo, trošku pobavilo. Ale tak pište si, Vojta tyran a je třeba ho zabanovat úplně všude, nesmíš být veřejná osoba, tak abyste pak věděli, až najednou jako já zmizím, tak mě nesežral medvěd, ale lidská nenávist a závist. Nevím, koho jsem týral. Dneska někdo tam týral Tomáše na Discordu, tak jsem ho odstranil. Čerstvě založený účet, který jenom napsal Tomáši smrdíš. Potom, co jako se do Tomáše někdo konzistentně navážel, víme, kdo to je všichni. Dlouhou dobu, tak jsem to smazal, že to nepotřebujem, tohle to u nás a pak mi, nevím, jestli to byl ten samý člověk nebo někdo jiný, napsal, že jsem hrozný imperátor. Tak si to užijte, jako je takový, jo. Strávíte svoji neděli radši tím, že budete někoho hejtit na internetu, nebo že půjdete ven do přírody, jo, vyberte si sami, že jo. 333 stříbrných stříkaček stříkalo skrze 333 stříbrných střech. Jsou tady jenom 3, ale mokrej jsem úplně stejně. A co to ještě? Jo, ještě tady jedna zajímavá věc, úplně na konci té debaty, ještě s tou rangerkou, co z toho vyplynula, že motýly jsou prvotní ukazatel stavu přírody. Že když okolo sebe máte motýly, tak to znamená, že je v tom místě jako příroda v dobrý, nebo to je v relativně dobrý situaci. A že když vám motýly zmizejí, tak nejspíš jako je někde v tom ekosystému trošku chybička. Tak to třeba mě zaujalo. Brzku momentálně jsem úplně v pořádku. Protože jsem schovaný za stromem, kamaráde. A co to? Jo, to ještě pak taky říkala právě s těma vlnama. Zase berlička Oslý můstek, že nad pouští horký vzduch stoupá nahoru a nad kopcema na druhé straně studený vzduch. Když tady vzduch odejde, tak tam něco musí být. Takže to vsakuje ten studený vzduch z hor a proto potom tady většinu odpolední bývá jako silný vítr, který se žene přes to jezero a ještě nějak je to jezero slaný a divný, tak pak no, je to jako nebezpečný. Na tom jezeře, což třeba člověka taky nenapadlo, že jo, kdyby jenom jsem přijel jako hej turista a jdeme plavat a najednou by koukal, že má problém, no. Mě jeden v Čech včera nadával, ty kráso. Ne, to je síla, je jako fakt nejlepší, no. Nejlepší, úplně nejlepší, co můžete udělat, je být zdvořilej, být zdvořilá, popřát těm lidem pěkný den, že děkujete, že se o vás tolik zajímají, že jako vydávají tolik energie na vaši osobu, že si moc vážíte jejich názorů a že určitě si večer sednete k šálku teplého čaje a budete o něm dlouze přemýšlet a to už začíná být trošku. Ta první část je zaručeně rozzuří, ta druhá část to už tam radši nepřidávejte. ale spousta motýlů venku, vidíš, prýmaři, pošli nějaký pěkný fotky. To by bylo super. Čau Smurfexí. Je to, ale právě takhle už i třeba, co jsme se bavili spolu večír a tak vyprávěla, že její primárním zájmem jsou motýly, broučci, takhle. Tahle ta stránka botaniky a tady mi vyprávěla třeba, že tady roste nějaká kytička, co má obrácený zvon, jakožto květ, který je hrozně takový jako, takže včelky tak jako nemají jak se dostat k tomu pilu, ale se včelky naučily vždycky zahrát klíč pro tu kytku, který jako letí včelka a bzik, 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 a kytička udělá zatřepe se a včelka prolítá, snese se na ní pil a že takhle jako fakt se naučili existovat v harmonii. Což jsou věci, kterých bych si já nikdy v životě nevšiml. Mě byste jako fakt museli ukázat někde na YouTube, abych takový věc jako dokázal podstřehnout. Tak to je dobrý, že hodně takhle jako odhalovala, proč jí zrovna ten svět fascinuje, který já bych třeba jinak úplně pominul. Což je super, čas Stani, ne? Když se schytal zpět do Čech, vidíš, koukni videa série nebo sbírky Yosemite, je tam 15 videí z Yosemitů, co jsme prozkoumávali ty poslední zhruba 2 týdny a za mě to je zatím jedna z těch nejkrásnějších našich částí a teď samozřejmě takhle jako se možnost objevovat další oblasti Ameriky, tak jsem nadšený, že to začíná zapadat do sebe, ale vyjdej zpátky a budem normálně teda zítra uvidíme, jak se vymotám, to je třeba jako mojeho času někde mezi 9. a 10. zase začneme, pojedeme někde do odpoledne, takže pro vás to je pak takový ten podvečír až hluboká noc, kdy teďka streamujeme primárně a především a budeme se snažit, no zase teď jsme měli hodně jenom takhle krátkých streamů, dnešek jeden z nich, budeme se vracet do těch jako dalších segmentů, no, ale potřebuju fakt ty fotky teďka udělat, jinak by to byla bída a mě to pak hrozně jako chroustalo v hlavě, já jsem z toho pak nervózní a otrávený, když vím, že jako takhle jsou věci, které fakt potřebuji udělat, takže k tomu se já teďka vrátím zbytek dneška a uvidíme, kolik toho stihnu, no. U těch včel, ty jsou taky výborný ukazatel kvality prostředí. Interagujeme s nima jinak než s motýlama, takže možná to jako ne tak jednoduchý, že když by se mě na ruku sedly 3 včely a 3 motýly, tak ta reakce bude diametrálně odlišná. Ale jo, určitě. Děkujeme ještě za infošku. Pěkný. Já, že tady je vše v pořádku, možná mají taky motýly. Globus, to hnedka víte, kam máte nakupovat, no. Znásledujte motýlky. Pěkný. Tehda. No, co to je neděle? Tak doufám, že se vám líbila naše takhle zvláštní bonusová prémiová neděle. Je to zase trošku jinýho a já jsem za to moc rád. Přemýšlím, co ještě jako o čem jsme se bavili, co by mě takhle hodně utkvělo v paměti z toho rozhovoru, když tak se zmíníte, když tak to řekněte vy. Říkala třeba taky ještě, jako, myslím, trošku na kameře, víc mimo kameru, že je v takové té fázi, kdy zvažuje, že by možná fakt stálo za to utíct z USA a že ještě se neodhodlala k žádnému radikálnímu kroku, ale že jako taky právě s těma sociálně politickými otázkama se úplně nesjednocuje s federální politikou tady, nakolik jako jí vyhovuje to státní a lokální třeba o něco víc. To je pěkný postřeh, říkala, že když zůstává tady jako v té menší komunitě, tak skutečně si může vybudovat nějakou jako pozici, nějakou reputaci a že v tu chvíli potom její hlas skutečně má váhu, že má možnost rozhodovat nebo podílet se na rozhodování o věcech v komunitě a v tom, jako jak to tady bude vypadat a co se tady bude dít s tou oblastí. Tak říkala, že to se jí na tomhle místě líbí, no. Že je za to ráda. Hele, takhle úplně. Teďka se to přesně jednou jsem vás otočil a hnedka vítr si vás vzal do parády. To jestli jste moc rozpitý, tak řekněte. Mrknout na záznam, máte si s angličtinou, no. Bylo to dneska 90% v angličtině, ale doporučuji, zajímavý, skutečně, rozhovor. Jsem taky integroval na včelnici, dostal se 2 injekce, to bolím, no. Kam bych chtěla utíct, to říkala, že ještě úplně jako nevymyslela, že ještě není rozhodla. Říkala, že bych chtěla vidět polární záři a říkala, že bych chtěla navštívit zpátky Jižní Ameriku, protože tam má nějaký známý a už tam byla a tak to. A že byla na Novém Zélandu, no, že jezdila, tam se jí moc líbilo. Ale taky ještě nedospěla k žádným rozhodnutí, takže jako je hodně podobně vlastně na tom já, kdy já taky jako mám takový ten pocit, že by nebylo třeba úplně marný se někde usadit, někde jako zapustit kořeny a zatím jsem ještě nenašel takový to místo, kde bych si řekl, jo, tady je fajn. To je zatím spokojeně jako dál cestuju a zkoumám společně s váma svět. Já dneska je hodně energie, projdu v pohodě, kluku, my to budeme za chvíli, už jako pomaličku, nikam moc už nebudeme vyrážet dál, až domluvíme, tak já pak půjdu dělat fotky, no. Když se vyhýbáš nesprávným místem a lidem, tak je všude dobře. Ten rozdíl je, jak moc se musíš vyhýbat a jak často, no. Já, stream z Jižní Ameriky, budeme ne to, hele, budeme se snažit střídat časový pásma, pokud nám budou dopřány další roky, takže do Jižní Ameriky se určitě někdy vrátíme, ale nebude to hnedka po Severní Americe, aby jsme zase dali šanci třeba lidem, kteří mají radši jiný časový pásma, aby s náma mohli cestovat. Ale jo, jako cílem třeba by bylo, no, navštívit spolu všech 7 kontinentů, zatím jsme na 3, to není špatný, ne? Na Kostarika, no, to bylo pěkný, no, to se mně líbilo. Tam vydrží málo kdo, to právě říkala, že se jí líbí, no. A není to vůbec, jako je to velký hub, tudy se výjíždí do Yosemitů. Takže a do Yosemity navštíví 700 000 lidí za rok. Tady to docela drandí a zároveň ta dálnice, která tady vede, včera jsme po ní jeli trošku, budeme se na ní vracet znova. Ta je jedna ze 3 hlavních trajektorií žil vedoucích sever-jih napříč Kalifornií, takže jako tady je právě že lidí až moc. Na kluku, děkuju. Anglický častěji. Jak to půjde? Jak to půjde, no. Ideální by byly titulky, pak bychom mohli to valit pořád, ale no. Austrálie, papoušci, to si úplně nemůžu představit. Těch 12 hodin by bylo moc na jakoukoliv stranu. Těch 9 nám to hodně, to je hodně na hraně. Jakkoliv bych neskutečně rád. Nový Zéland 12 hodin, kolik má Austrálie? 8 až 10? Nějaký jeho západní pobřeží Austrálie třeba by šlo, ale tam zase toho není tolik. Ale jestli vítej, děkuji za follow. To je jedno, jako ten příští rok je ještě daleko, zatím se snažíme jako měsíc po měsíci přežít tady, obzvlášť tyhle ty malý místa, tyjo, jako všechno, každá jedna věc tady má $2 až $3 marži na sobě a když kupujete věci normálně za $1 a najednou stojí 4, tak je to docela poznat, no. Takže nevím, říkejte kamarádům, pokud znáte někoho, nějakou firmu, která by se o nás třeba mohla začít zajímat s tím, co děláme, tak buďte ta spojka. Moc by se to hodilo, pravdě. Většina osídlení odsud je, no, jako pojedeme do Bridgeportu, nejspíš teda zítra, to je takový první větší město, kde já si pak, nevím, jestli udělám nějaký nákup. Tady teďka přežívám na proteinových tyčinkách, protože ty mají nejnižší marži ze všeho. Oříšky, který kupuju za $1, tak třeba v kopcích stály 6. Tady to jsem odmít kupovat. Úplně jsem jako, došlo mi to kilový balení a jsem teďka bez oříšků. Takže je to zajímavé. A zase lidi říkají, že Kalifornie je jeden z nejdražších států, tak doufám, že se třeba trošku sklidní. Oregon, Washington potom, uvidíme, no. Ale s tím osídlením ještě tak taková brlička. Tamhle na druhé straně jezera je Lee-Vining, kde jsme se loučili včera a já jsem si tohle tu část, já nevím, 8 kilometrů projel sám. A až vyrazíme zase zítra někdy, tak budeme pak pokračovat takhle směrem tam a tam bude někde hrozný krpál, do kterého musíme vyjet a tak to se budu snažit stihnout dopoledne, dokud máme ještě energii. Zítra teda nejspíš, no, jestli se nestane něco moc nepěkného dneska, co mě zabránilo úplně se dostat k těm fotkám. Ale... je to příjemný a nepříjemný zároveň, ta studená voda, no, jo, nejsem úplně na tohle člověk stavěný. Co už? Jo. Jak to vidíte vy? A ještě něco byste se chtěli zeptat třeba k téhle návštěvě, k téhle oblasti, poslední asi šance. Zítra už zase budeme jako pak hledět vpřed a tohle necháme definitivně za sebou s výjimkou těch fotek, které vám budu postupně nahrávat na Flickr. A aby vás to úplně nezahltilo. A Instagram kavárna samozřejmě. Instagram moc, když streamujeme, tak Instagram moc nejede. A to musím to nějak jako vymyslet. No. Ahoj Ondro, čauko. Akorát to. Akorát jsme si dopovídali víceméně. Problémy s vodou, jako to jezero má problémy s vodou, no, který bojují za udržení či zvednutí té hladiny. A přímo komunita jako taková, nevím, jak na tom jsou, na kolej jako berou vodu z jezera, čistějí, pak ji zase vracejí zpátky, ale jinak jo, Kalifornie, velký problémy s vodou, jedny z největších. Samozřejmě smáli jsme se tomu, to jsme zmiňovali snad i společně, ne, to Hoover Dam, co vysychá a objevují tam všechny teďka i mrtví mafiány v kyblích a v barelech. Říkala, že tady aspoň s tímhle problémy nemají, že aspoň tohle jako nemusí tady tolik řešit, jako třeba v jiných částech, no tak to dobrý. A Tahou, to jezero velký, který nás čeká, tak bude ještě o poznání větší, ale hodně sladkovodní, takže tam hodně víc letěj a turistika jako taková klasická. Tam tak uvidíme, no, jak to vypadá. Tohle ještě další poslední možná věc. Říkala, že tohle jezero je zhruba rozlohou dvojnásobek centrálního San Francisca, který má 7x7 mil a tohle má 7x14 mil. Tak nevím, kolik má Praha, no jako centrální část Prahy, jak by se to srovnalo, ale nepřekvapilo by mě, kdyby to jezero bylo rozlohou srovnatelný s Prahou. Je poměrně velký. No, tak doufám, že zase jednou se nám jako povedlo upřednostnit kvalitu před kvantitou. Doufám, že se to tak vnímali. Doufám, že se nám podařilo odpovědět jako většinu otazníků pro lidi, kteří třeba tomu rozhovoru úplně nerozuměli. A zítra teda ráno zase, až se já vykulím ze spacáku, což je ta jednodušší část, pak se si člověk zabalit a když je s někým, tak si ještě pořád povídá a tak, že jo. Ale zítra už pak vyrazíme dál na sever, Tahoe, poslední asi velká zastávka před tím, než pojďme jako fakt tlačit to směrem k hranicím s Oregonem. Je tady spousta, jako celá Sierra, jsou samý chráněný lesy, parky a budeme se spíš třeba soustředit teďka víc jako na hledání obydlených míst a lidí a tak a uvidíme, jestli nějaký velký kopce nebo zajímavý lokace takhle potkáme. Oni fakt v Americe nejsou, no, moc pokrytý, jo, ani prostě tyhle místa, natož příroda, takže to musíme být fakt opatrný, kam se vydáme, tyhle Sequoia a Yosemite parky, který jsem opravdu chtěl vidět interně osobně a je tu spoustu dalších, třeba ještě na jich parků, který by byly pěkný třeba navštívit, ale cestujeme společně a tak já to taky respektuju a přizpůsobujeme se tomu. Tak uvidíme, jak to půjde dál. Užijte si zbytek večera, dobrou noc, pokud jdete spát, pokud ne, tak si užijte zbytek dne třeba. A RKčko, no, akorát, ty jo. Příspěvka skončí bez bodu, až se splní, uvidíš, no, Ondro, kolik, já na to nekoukám, já nevím, kolik nám zbývá, až to padne, tak otevřeme, budeme kupovat pohledy za Tlácký rána, asi 50 000, co žádáme za pohled jeden. A možná ještě tady teďka zítra budeme kupovat známky, jestli se zdražej, tak možná budeme se zdražit pak i pohled, nebo já nevím, protože mezi tím prvním a druhým nákupem poštovních známek oni tady stihli zdražit. To mě docela to pobavilo, no. Šprýmaří máte si darte rinosku, hlavně by nedošel elán a síla, no. Elán a síla to jsou ty věci, které nedojdou. Četu pěkný večír, taky tak. Tady si jsme vás inspirovali, pošlete to dál. Lítají po mně možná i ty včelky tady, tak třeba jsem taky zdravej, to doufám. Vyražte někam na prázdniny, podělte se na Discordu, jako to dělají naši moderátoři, berte si příklad, dělají to moc dobře, stejně jako moderování chatu a já jsem za to moc rád, že nám pomáhají, když já zrovna nemůžu tolik vnímat, co se děje. Každopádně, čau, dobroj. We're gonna wrap it up here. Today was really just about the conversation that we've had, and I'll go do pictures that I've taken, like, you know, working on pictures that I've taken in Yosemite, so that you can have them online as soon as possible, and so that I don't have to focus on it anymore as we go forward. We should start pushing north out for Tahoe tomorrow. That'll take us 3 or 4 days to get to, and then maybe more conversations like this. I hope you've enjoyed it. and I wish you a very pleasant rest of your day or night or what have you. And I'll see you next time, guys. Take care. Take it easy. Thanks for watching. Alfe, máte si, opatruj se, no vidíš, přesně tak. Opatrujte se. Čau a dobrou. No.